Formatting delusion under the pervasive awakening of rootless Duckweed. Everyone lives within a Rashomon effect of their own weaving. Delusion acts like an automated matrix of association. The moment a thought rears its head, it drags along a massive sequence of events, deceiving us into believing that life is continuous. In this Dharma talk, the master prescribes a potent medicine through a procedural deconstruction of the 4 bases of power and the 5 roots. Cultivation is an absolute, hard-hitting production of one key formatting. Facing ordinary beings like us, who are born with infinite obstacles, the master dynamically and earth-shatteringly reveals how rootless disciples can cross the paths right within the midst of eating, drinking, and playing. Chapter 1. Automated Delusion. The fabricated contents of the Rashomon effect. The very first step of cultivation is to clearly perceive the operating mechanism of delusion. Sentient beings mistakenly believe their thinking is continuous and logical, but this is actually a massive illusion. 1. The jumping and blurring of thoughts. Yanadatta mistakenly believed he had lost his head. The moment that single mad thought was stirred, it dragged along a whole sequence of frantic, absurd searching. The daily delusions of ordinary people operate exactly like this. As long as there is a tiny, lingering thread of connection between one delusion and another, consciousness automatically mixes in completely non-related matters. Consciousness projects how things ought to be and begins fabricating blindly. As long as it subjectively deems a connection to exist, it pieces together a pile of unrelated fragments, forming a seemingly continuous, monumental matrix of self-deception. This is the Rashomon of consciousness that every individual custom builds for themselves. 2. Delivering an incorruptible confusion, harmful and useless. How then should one observe and counteract this automated, blind fabrication? The method provided by the master is to penetrate it with thorough realization, knowing it is harmful and useless. Every single time a delusion rears its head, you must deliver an ironclad conclusion within your heart. It is wrong, it is harmful, and useless. Because a delusion is merely how you perceive things to be. But this actual, real world is absolutely not dictated by how you perceive it. Getting the formulas of reality wrong inevitably brings a state of helpless suffering. Once you truly understand this, you will naturally cease to run after delusions. The moment the connection begins to form, slam on the brakes immediately and tell yourself, stop thinking. Why allow yourself to go wrong all the way, go wrong continuously, and go wrong inevitably? Chapter 2. Formatting and installing the system. The professional procedure of the 4 bases of power. Understanding the principle is merely the first step, the base of investigation. To thoroughly resolve the issue, one must enter the physical operation procedure. 1. The bottleneck of the first and second steps, from identification to formatting. The base of investigation. Identify the delusion the moment it rears its head. Because you know it is wrong and bound to bring suffering, you can abandon it at the very moment it appears. This step is the easiest to pass. The base of mind. This is the most difficult path to cross. Because our delusional neural system has been 纯见from childhood to become incredibly thick and robust, it has formed an immensely powerful automated operation. At this stage, one must utilize immense mental power to engage in great, diligent focus. What is focus? It means staring it down relentlessly at a single, unchanging point. The moment the delusion appears, do not analyze it at all, extinguish it directly. Give it zero opportunity to rear its head or bubble up. This is like leaving that faulty neural system out to dry without giving it nutrients or charging it, allowing it to gradually wither away. This is the one key formatting of the computer of life. Before the formatting is fully complete, you absolutely cannot stop. The moment you pause, karmic habits will experience a resurgence, bringing chaotic noise back into the system. 2. The third and fourth steps. Installing the 6 parameters and the 4 advanced degrees. Once the computer is thoroughly formatted and left completely blank, one must start anew, installing a fresh operating system and software applications. The base of energy. You do not need to invent anything yourself. Simply install and operate according to the legal rules provided by the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. This operating system for self-benefit consists of the 6 paramitas: generosity, precepts, patience, diligence, concentration, and prajna. At this stage, having cleared away the 3 obstructions through the first 2 steps, your memory becomes incredibly rapid. You can memorize the precepts after reading them 2 or 3 times, and proceed directly to operate and execute them. The base of aspiration. This concerns the last 4 degrees of the 10 paramitas: expedient means, vow, power, and wisdom, which belong to the domain of pure altruism. Cultivation at this height renders chasing supernatural powers or fame for one's song entirely meaningless. Supernatural powers are merely a conditional play. Only under the premise of benefiting sentient beings, enabling them to attain genuine, ultimate peace and joy, does one install a correct Dharma application and proceed directly to operate it. The master warned that if someone attempts to practice without formatings, pulling weeds while simultaneously planting crops, it is called hybrid mixed. Your crops will never outgrow the weeds. You will be entirely overwhelmed to managing the endless cycle of weeding, and ultimately your cultivation will be bottlenecked within a tiny capacity. Only clearing it all out at once, formatting it cleanly, and then installing the system constitutes a professional path of cultivation. Chapter 3. The 5 Roots Procedure and the Absolute Starting Point of Faith. Aside from the 4-stage division of the 4 bases of power, the Dharma dissects the inevitable trajectory of cultivation through the 5 roots. 1. The starting point of the inevitable trajectory, faith. The 5 roots constitute the Xiuhankou procedure of cultivation. Faith is the absolute starting point. Without faith, cultivation cannot even begin. If a person's root of faith is exceptionally firm, without a single shred of doubt, the moment they hear the Buddha state that killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, and lying bar one from liberation forever, causing perpetual drowning in the 3 lower realms, as a disciple of absolute faith, they will sever those actions directly at the level of thought. Even if they cannot drop them instantly in action, they will diligently lock down their own thoughts, preventing negative impulses from rearing their heads. 2. When the mad mind rests, wisdom appears. When thoughts finally become unmoving through the power of absolute faith and diligence, the moment the deluded mind rests, the inherent Tathagata wisdom, natural wisdom, and teacherless wisdom will instantly manifest before you. At that moment, you will view the world with a completely fresh, penetrating clarity. This is called observing with the root of wisdom. This too is a complete SOP procedure. Chapter 4. A strike to the soul, the attachment to the cesspool and the maggots. Facing these 2 clear procedures of cultivation, the disciples gave rise to a helpless doubt. Right now, we don't even have the most basic root of faith. The moment an opportunity to eat or play comes along, our reason is instantly blown away by the wind. What should we do? At this point, the master delivered a highly incisive, even biting reprimand to shatter their delusions. For people like you to miss out on liberation, you absolutely deserve it. 1. It's not that you don't understand, it's that you cannot let go. The master stated plainly that it is not a matter of not understanding the principles. Nowadays, everyone basically understands the principles. However, after understanding them, you still linger within the worldly dust. Refusing to let go, that is an absolute dead end. It is just like someone advising you to stop soaking on a foul, repulsive cesspool mixed with gross maggots, urging you to come out and wash yourself clean. You step out, wash yourself a couple of times, and then say to your delusion, "Let me jump back down and soak for just a little bit. Just a moment, I know it's bad." 2. Loyally serving and attending to afflictions. Why does this happen? Because the negative habits and negative karma of the masses far outweigh their virtuous habits and virtuous karma. Our affinity with the negative is deeply entrenched. while our affinity with the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas is pitifully thin. Ordinary people take the entirety of their foundational skills, reverence, service, offerings, and even unyielding loyalty, and dedicate them completely, without omission, to their own afflictions and delusions. When an affliction wants to eat, you feed it instantly. When it wants to wear something, you dress it. When it wants to play or seek pleasure, you attend to it perfectly, even willingly sacrificing your life for it. You claim you do not know how to cultivate or lack the capacity for reverence, service, and offerings. You have the capacity. You have simply directed it toward the wrong object. You have surrendered your total loyalty to the cesspool and the maggots. Sentient beings refuse to recognize that the deluded mind is not the true self, constantly shouting, "I am hungry, I want to eat," and consequently they remain in the cesspool, never finding exit through time immemorial. This is because they find the 8-virtue meritorious water of the Buddha too pure, too peaceful, and completely devoid of flavor, whereas the cesspool, interwoven with the worldly karma of all beings under heaven, breeds things that taste intensely flavorful and are even deemed beautiful. Chapter 5, Absolute Salvation, the Pervasive Awakening of the Rootless Duckweed. Facing the disciples' despair as they realized they were ordinary beings of negative karma stranded outside the 440 bodhisattvas mentioned in the Maharatankuta Sutra, the master shifted his tone, channeling a profound compassion to open an extraordinary path of liberation for the rootless beings of the Dharma ending age. 1. Duckweed is rootless, but wherever it lands is a place of awakening. A disciple asked anxiously, "We have no roots. We don't even have the very first root of faith. What do we do?" The master laughed. "If you have no roots, having the number 5 works just fine. Although we are like rootless duckweed drifting on the water surface, swept away the moment the wind of eating or playing arise," the master said, "that doesn't matter. I allow the wind to blow you. I allow the waves to surge. Though I am a duckweed without roots, wherever I am located is itself awaken." This is the most powerful and liberating core guidance of the entire talk. The master freed cultivation from rigid rules and connected it directly to the omnipotent self-nature. If you are blown into a pile of eating, you achieve awakening right within eating. If you are blown into a pile of drinking, you achieve awakening right within drinking. If you are blown into a pile of playing, you achieve awakening right within playing. Because you, in your primal essence, are already awakened yourself. 2. Verifying this bitter game. No matter where destiny drives you, whether you are at the crest of a wave or at its lowest, you must maintain a constant state of vigilance, right within the immediate experience of eating, drinking, and playing. You must look closely and verify, what exactly is this eating, drinking, and playing? What kind of wind blew me to this place? You will find that the wave is water, and water is the wave, the wind is you, and you are the wind. Whether it is the you in the wind or the you in the wave, all of it manifests in reliance upon the empty, luminous self-nature. That empty, luminous self-nature is who you truly are. It is you who are utilizing the pristine energy of self-nature to conjure the wind, conjure the wave, and conjure eating, drinking, and playing. Yet, because you identify the false as true, you end up trapping yourself in boundless suffering within a game of your own making. This game, from its initial mental fabrication to its final physical manifestation, yields a result that can be summarized in a single word: suffering. When you repeatedly see through and verify this formula of suffering throughout a lifetime of drifting amidst eating, drinking, and playing, and realize that all these labels of good, bad, right, and wrong are merely empty projections you set up for yourself, that realization itself is a profound transformation. This faith of the rootless can similarly jolt you awake from a state of total ignorance, leading you to great autonomy. Conclusion flowing seamlessly within the Dharma wind. Every single one of us is already operating within this precisely designed procedure of life. It is simply that in the past, we failed to sort it out and see it clearly. Now, a perfectly clear path lies paved for us. We are being blown by the whirly winds of karma, drifting through destiny. But fortunately, we still get to be brushed by the pure wind of the Dharma every single day. Locking roots does not matter. As long as every single time the wind blows and the waves surge, you come back to reflect and awaken. Within this grand, worldly dream of eating, drinking, and playing, verify illusions wherever you are, and experience awakening wherever you land. The day this realization becomes thoroughly solidified and saturated within your heart, formatting and system upgrades will follow seamlessly as a matter of course. May we all, no matter where destiny drives us, whether we find ourselves at the peak of a wave or at its lowest trough, maintain a constant state of vigilance and awakening. Right within the immediate experience of eating, drinking, and playing, amidst the blowing wind and surging waves, may we personally verify and thoroughly find out what exactly are these things. What kind of karmic wind blew us to this place? And what is the final result they bring? May we remain clearly aware at every moment. Eating, drinking, and playing are entirely manifestations preparing your reliance upon the empty, luminous self-nature. And that empty, luminous self-nature is who we truly are. Furthermore, may we resolutely see through delusion as harmful and useless. Refuse to be enticed by it. Become fully equipped with the root of faith, and break through every single obstacle. This material is shared by the Buddha's Path Association of Australia. Thank you for listening.